Oh, good. Thank you for telling me. Yeah.
What up,
No, I feel
Doug?
you though. I'm kind of getting there myself. What up, dog? What is up, my dog?
Well,
How are you?
I don't know. I'm all right. How are you? Can you hear us?
What's up?
Can you hear us?
Oh, let me hang on one sec. It's actually looking through the deal here. Okay, I can hear myself. Can you talk?
No.
Yeah, we're both on.
Hell yeah. So,
Okay.
Taylor.
Sorry.
We said we were gonna do homework. And, dear listeners, we didn't.
Now, yeah, I know that you guys all have a lot of faith in us that we never miss, we never fuck up. I know that we fake this presentation of flawlessness so perfectly that you've never even considered the possibility that we don't follow through on things, but we didn't do our homework this week. So, Corey, tell them what we are doing.
Well, I will direct you to what we're calling this episode 9, Dalliance with the Deity. We are going to talk about lore because I'm weak. My flesh is weak, and I need to take a break from mechanics, I guess.
I don't believe it. I don't fucking believe it at all. How could you possibly let everyone down like this? You're supposed to be the mechanics guy, Corey.
I am, but I'm.
What are we gonna do now?
Well, Taylor, we actually are going to talk about something that I've been excited to talk about for a while. Which is I want to talk about like our Pantheon. Because
Sick.
we are playing our stock setting for Vault Peddlers is a science fantasy setting, I would say.
Mhm.
That's fairly accurate, right? Maybe like a
Yeah.
primitive science fantasy, but science fantasy nonetheless.
Yeah, I think that that's fair.
And I think that, well, maybe primitive is the wrong. Industrialized to primitive science fantasy. I don't know. That being said, one thing that fantasy deals with a lot is deities, pantheons, gods. And it's a fun lore exercise to play in. And beyond that, I've got some fucking ideas.
Oh yeah. Let me see where you're at. So you're looking at some of the okay, you're looking at some of the feats for like classes and stuff. Go ahead and scroll to the world notes. I've made a little section here called established lore, and we have a
Ooh.
little subheading under that for Pantheon. We don't really have up until this point, we really haven't had a dedicated section for lore. I'm just going to go ahead and make it here because this document is already a fucking nightmare as it is. We might as well add another section to it. Yeah, no. I don't know. I had some ideas for what I wanted to do with this world, and then I did not write them down. So tell you what, why don't you go at it, and we'll go to the old formula of like you dictate, I type, and we kind of sort it out from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be a lot of sorting because, I mean, my thoughts are loose, would be the best description of what I have. So I messaged you, I think this was yesterday or the day before, when we were talking about, hey, we didn't do homework. which is cool because we both knew it. But yeah. So one thing I talked about is like I would like to, maybe not for everything, but at least for the initial Pantheon, do a more grounded thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we talked about like the quick reef here too. I like the idea of having like extraplanar things occurring on the planet. Like, I like the idea of Eba housing deities that are like immense beings of power that are essentially gods that aren't your traditional god. Like, I'm not the Raven Queen living in fucking. Oh, where does the Raven Queen live? Which plane of existence is that?
Ravenloft? I don't know.
No, Ravenloft is Borvaria, which is Barovia rather. Well, either way, I don't want to like have like extraplanar things that everyone is like, I am a goddess of this domain, so I live here. It's like,
Sure.
I would like to have like a swarm of sentient nanomachines that have coalesced and over time formed a being in the upper stratosphere that is a deity of weather or lightning. I would like to have machine towers, ancient and decrepit, dotted over the landscape, and all of the automatons inside of them have a light that comes to life when people are nearby, or just at different moments, and start to march across the lands because the master of these machine towers deems it so, whosoever he is or wheresoever he may be. I would like to have like alien denizen growth like stuck underground. I would like to have the tunneler's mainframe alive and controlling things. Like, those are the deities I'm interested in having. And we've talked a lot about fantasy in the current stock setting, and we've talked a lot about science in the history of this setting. And I think that this Pantheon and talking lore right here is going to be a good bridge of these things to start bringing that science fiction into our fantasy setting.
I completely agree with that idea. Like, one of the things that I think that I said this in like a previous stream, and like I've come to really like this description, is that our game right now is this weird kind of mashup of like Lord of the Rings and Borderlands. And I don't know, I really want to see like the technology side of like deities come into play here. And I actually think that we've already set like some really great like foundations for ourselves when we played the Quiet Year with our friend Adam, like the lights over Ishtas. Like that like provides like a really good like narrative lore foundation for like these sort of upper stratosphere like nanomachine gods that you mentioned really briefly. But I think more fundamentally, yeah, like I want to have a world in which, yeah, we have things that are effectively gods, but not gods in the what's the word, like the practical sense.
But not in
Like,
a traditional interpretation. We want to create a godhead out of mortals, or out of like things, right?
Yeah.
Like some real left-hand path shit.
Yeah, I don't want to create gods. I want to create things which effectively take the place of gods that could reasonably exist in this world.
Which is fucking dope, because guess what? Dune just came out, and guess what Dune deals a lot in? Fucking
Sandworms.
yeah, and a hybrid of those things, and living creatures becoming gods. Because in Dune, Shai-Hulud, the sandworm, grandfather eternity, the old man of the desert, I mean, he is the Fremen god, right? Like,
Right.
all sandworms are the Shaitan is the Fremen god, although we don't call him Shaitan, we call him Shai-Hulud. Use his proper terminology, because Shai-Hulud is the god of the desert. And, like, that's the thing. They took something immensely powerful, this thing that doesn't think, but it consumes, and it is so important to Arrakis, and they elevated it to the status of god. And what's the difference?
In the historical sense, very little. And I think that that's kind of what I want to approach a lot of this with. And here's the thing: we have great fodder for this. We have it on the technology side, in terms of, excuse me, in terms of like the nanomachine idea. We have it on the biologica side, where like the kind of megafauna that would have had to have survived the quick reef would be terrifying.
Yeah.
And great fodder for making like de facto gods. And we have it in the Star Shatter side in fucking spades. I mean, like, space is vast and eternal and contains otherworldly creatures, which, yeah, you would absolutely call that a god, if it was presented in front of you. So, like, I think that that's kind of what I'm looking for more than anything, is I want the gods to be rooted in the history, not necessarily just of Eba the world, but of the universe that Eba is in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's throw down a splash of some things of where gods can take place and ideas that we can start from, right? Let's just brainstorm, because I said the mainframe of the tunneler mainframe, I think is a really cool idea, like, because we have. My idea for tunnelers initially is that there are different clans of them, different groups of them, and they all fall under like a hive mainframe. But
yeah.
What if like all of those came together and coalesced into like one sentience at the core of the planet, kind of thing?
Okay.
So like a tunneler deity.
Okay, yeah. So tunneler mainframe is the deity, and you say these are tunnelers who have come together and coalesced.
I wouldn't even say it's tunnelers. I would say it's like, so in my head, tunnelers all operate on, because they're a hive mind, right?
Yeah.
So like the center of the hive is like a thinking machine, or a machine that dictates where everything goes, like the pheromone, like a pheromone center of ants. Like it is a queen. It's not a tunneler, but it's like a core basically, and then all of these cores coalesce somewhere into a consciousness sort of idea. That was just me spitballing.
Well, I love the idea of it being like at the core of the earth. I think that that's super cool, because it would explain why you have tunnelers in all of these different areas. Like the kind of like an ant farm, like it sort of builds outward in sort of every direction. I think that could make for like some really cool regional variations on tunnelers.
Yeah.
I do think, because one of the things that we need to make sure that we're doing is that we are blending our mechanics with our lore. The tunneler feats are vast knowledge, drill baby drill, and overhead light.
Yeah.
None of those really deal with like handling heat, especially. Is there something that you want to change about that then, or do you want to maybe try and find like a different location for this AI?
Well, no. So in my head, I mean, I don't know if necessarily any tunnelers go towards the AI. It is like each colony has its center, and then that fixates on the core of the planet, like all these eyes of Sauron pointing inward, and inward is the kaleidoscope, like this eye, you know. But that's neither here nor there. I think where we do find. Oh, go on.
Sorry. What if it's like a bunch of like you have like these like satellite cores placed like around different hives, like all over the earth, and the signal itself is like the AI. The signal, as these cores are reaching through the earth to communicate with each other, they intersect at the center of the earth.
Yeah. Like they're generating a frequency, and that frequency, like they didn't even mean to do it. Like it is just like the frequency generated from the tectonic shifts that the tunnelers create by tunneling and moving colonies, coalesced with all these other tunneler feeds and created like intelligence from frequency.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hang on one second.
That's some fucking Doctor Who shit, man.
Okay, so found in separate areas of the Earth's mantle. Eba's mantle.
The Eba. I'm Eba.
Eba's mantle. These cores.
I'm gonna go to the doctor and tell him my Eba's mantle hurts. I fucked up my Eba's mantle. I did. I'm pretty sure that's the physical. Excuse me, doctor. I need an adjustment. I messed up my Eba's mantle.
My Eba's mantle's all fucked up. With each other through satellite communication, which all intersect the core of the world. The intersection.
The frequency of this intersection creates a god!
Creates a central AI composed.
I'm all jacked up on Coca-Cola now.
Let's see here.
And you know what that AI says to all of them? I look upon my children and say, drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill. Sarah Palin is the god of the tunnelers.
No, my boys! My sweet babies. Okay, I think we're doing what we normally do here, though, is we get too deep. Let's just throw some shit at the wall right now. Let's not even get deep. Let's just throw ideas. Machine towers. Just write it down. I like them, and I want them to be a thing.
All right, you got to give me a little bit more than machine towers.
I do not. We're gonna litigate it afterwards. Let's just throw ideas at the wall right now.
All right. Let's see here. Sec. All right. Machine towers. Fucking Corey.
Yeah. Hit me with it. If you say a giant crab in the poisoned sea.
That's what it is. Crab God.
Okay, I'm on board. Crab God. We have a giant poisoned sea.
Yes.
I think the quick reef itself.
Oh yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense that people would like fall to that.
I sent a dope sentence to Taylor the other day. I guess fun. I sent you a dope sentence the other day about the quick reef.
Oh, you did actually, yeah. I don't want to.
Okay, so Taylor texted. We were talking about this, and he goes, "I'd love to dive into the quick reef. Actually, what the quick reef actually is. It seems like it's a pretty major part of the world we've built, but we don't have a super great idea of what it is beyond it's a living reef." To which I responded, "The heart of the reef, a cataclysmic pulsing nest of mutation in the trenches of the poisoned sea. From here, the quick reef grows its tendrils at an ever-quickening pace, lapping waves at the shore under the pressure of its maleficent growth." So that's like a demon.
A really cool fucking paragraph. Just, I thought when he sent it to me, I was like, did we like have that written down? Like, okay, cool. So yeah, quick reef definitely makes a ton of sense. Oh, you mentioned nano machine gods.
Yeah, nano gods. Let's just throw them in there.
Nano machine gods. We're really doing a lot of collective gods here.
Yeah.
Like, Tunneler Mainframe is a bunch of different AI cores. Machine Towers sounds plural. Nano machine gods in the atmosphere. I want to give...
I mean, one of them is one crab god.
The crab god, of course, is the exception to everything we do. It's the best idea we've ever had.
He's the god of vaping.
Crab. God of vaping. God of fat clouds.
Fuck. Fucking stupid.
What I love is that there is going to be a giant crab god in this game. And the fact that it's actually going to make it in is...
What does he do? He scuttles!
Fucking skitters. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Fucking Zoidberg is...
Yes! Zoidberg is my god. I help those who help themselves.
I like the idea of, like... And maybe this is getting too deep, because I said we weren't going to really talk about them at all.
Yeah.
But, like, the Nocturine are full of, like, sand, alien sand or some shit. What if, like, they all are born of some alien fungal growth or some shit? Just Nocturine sand.
Nocturine sand / fungus.
And then question mark?
We're throwing stuff at the wall. Let's see here.
I like the idea. Oh, I had another idea.
Yeah.
So we talk about like this this tide of Sero that like just these little communities. Mm-hmm. I like the idea that they have like short lifespan and they keep giving birth to like a violent deity and it keeps being reincarnated and coming back as like a leader of Sero. Just leading these violent prophetic lives over and over again.
So what you have in mind, Corey, is the Sero Pharaoh?
Yes, the Sero Pharaoh is correct. That's fucking stupid. This is stupid setting.
It's the dumbest fucking game. I quit.
I'm sending us both to hell.
Already there.
Hello, police!
Hello, police. I just witnessed a murder. I did it to myself.
Call an ambulance, but not for me.
I want to do something that like would be like the patron of like vault peddlers, like the patron of like travelers. What if like Augustus or what's his name, Alton Finch?
I have a better idea.
What?
Dooner Brining.
Yes. This game is dumb as fuck.
Is Dooner Brining dead?
Only if you forget the name. Sec.
Okay. We got Dooner Brining.
I do want to go back to this idea, though, of like Augustus being a god, or I think it makes more sense that... Did we discuss how Finch dies?
Yeah. Well, no. We, in the Microscope episodes, the Lost episodes, we had them die at the bottom of the ocean, but we didn't know... I mean, fucking Augustus came back, so...
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. The whole thing, like, exploded in the ocean.
It's how everything goes down.
True.
Eventually. That doesn't mean he can't come back.
He could.
Give me a / next to Augustus's name.
Yep.
And just write the Builder. And
like
yeah, I have an idea.
Okay.
Clark Kent, Superman. Is that already
Clark
a thing?
Kent. I mean, I were in my personal life. But in the game, in the game, no, not in the game. No. You could do it though.
What about the plasma that they harvest in Vigil?
So I was thinking about like a volcano god.
That would be that, right?
Yeah.
It's a giant baby.
I want to go with like the easy name, which is just like the Vigilant.
Oh, that's dope. And it's a big baby that lives in plasma.
Big.
See, this is this is the fucking issue with us, dude. No longer are you challenging things.
Nope. Look, I'm not challenging it. For the record, I'm not challenging it because you explicitly said we're just throwing shit at a wall right now.
All right. Now erase everything but the words "big plasma baby."
Let's see.
Something to do with blood. We need some kind of blood god.
What about what is that third fucking city? There's Vigil, Ishtos, and what's the other one?
Oh fuck. The serpent, the metal serpent. Oh yeah, they just worship the metal serpents like in the same way that Shai Hulud gets worshipped. Maybe like all of these wild fucking wild metal snakes.
Well, let me ask you this: would it make sense? Because like one of their big professions in that area is literally hunting these metal serpents. So is it like, do they worship the serpents? Do they worship what eats the serpents?
Nah, dog. They hunt him and worship him. Fuck it. There's tons of them.
For my edification, what is the name of that goddamn city? I can never remember.
Well, actually, hold on. I have Wonder Draft pulled up. Orad.
Orad? O-R-O-D?
Yep. Well, let's take a look at we have, like, I think that I don't know if the builders have a god. They probably think that they are the gods.
That would make sense.
Palotar, definitely crab god.
Crab god for sure.
The Error is Shay and the Ember. I think the Emberfights definitely have like a Gaian god, right?
Yeah, 1,000% they have a god of the earth.
Big corn husk. It's the biggest corn husk in Nebraska.
It's the corn man.
It's that like little corn guy. You remember those old ads with that little shithead corn nuts guy?
I actually do remember the corn nuts guy.
Yeah, he was gross.
No, I do like the idea of like a Gaian god. Ebus. No, I mean, like, you definitely could just literally say, like, the god is Eba. And, like, the god itself is, like, a physical manifestation of the earth, or I don't know how we want to play that exactly. Oh, shit. No, wait, I know how I want to play it.
Dope.
It's kind of similar to, like, the fungus idea. Like, you know how, like, mushrooms, like, actually go, like, way down into the earth or whatever?
Yeah.
And, like, they're all... Like, they have, like, these big, giant fucking bases.
Yeah.
What if, like, the Emberfights, like, insofar as they're related to trees, like, their roots go down into, like, this singular...
Yeah.
Singular fucking thing.
Oh, shit, that gives a cool idea. The Emberfights, okay, they're not a hive mind, but they all come from, like, the same consciousness. So when they come up, they have memories of other Emberfights all mixed into their own. Because they were... Again, not a hive mind. They all have their own personalities. They all have their own, like, ideologies, whatever. But they have, like, a shared history, a shared memory.
Shared memory or shared memories?
Shared memories.
So one Emberfight knows what every Emberfight knows?
Maybe it's not as hardcore as that. Maybe it's, like, you get pieces of it, depending on, like, you know... But you have these elements of a past lineage all built into you, all fucking metal and shit.
Okay. There, and we're just gonna let that stew for a minute.
Hey, I have an idea.
Yeah.
The Cult of the Imaginarians. Just write it down.
Yeah. Imaginarians. Yep.
Oh, shit. Okay. Take the builder put it onto a separate line, and then change Augustus next to Augustus. I'm trying to think. Like, Augustus is the one who's waking people up. Who's waking up the Awoken. Augustus of the Awoken. He who who watches the Watchmen.
Augustus the alarm clock.
Ding, ding, ding! Get up! No, I'm just kidding. You do have to get up, though.
How about Augustus of the Rising Light?
Ooh, that's fucking tight!
Okay, cool.
Cause I'm Augustus of the rising light. You're welcome. I got a new track for you. Hot track you can put on a new single.
Oh, hey, how about you want to come up with a religion that like existed in the old world in the before 4 times that like a couple of traditionalists still hang on to?
Like the Helix?
Well, so the Helix would be an option. I was actually thinking of that religious sect outside of Ishtas that almost invaded the city and
the anti
were living up in the mountains.
The anti Oh, I see. The So this is less of a religion and more of a, which I think this is less of a god and more of a religion, which I like. But what's the difference? Because if they have power, what were they called?
I don't actually, like, I'm looking at them all now. I don't know if we ever came up with a name for them, which is weird.
Keepers of the Heights, because they were on mountains. Keepers of the Line. Whoa. What were the dudes called that stood outside of Ishtas?
The bandits, or like
the bandits who became guards.
Hang on one sec.
Keepers of the Dying Light.
Not wire shapers.
Oh shit! I got this.
Not beetle thieves.
Beetle thieves. If you say it 3 times, a man comes and takes all your beetles. These are my beetles!
Fuck, did we not have a name for them either? I was sure we did.
I thought we did.
Reclaimers?
How about this?
Oh, no, Closed Circuit?
That's the Short Circuit TV show. It would be a good name for a Short Circuit TV show, though. How about this, Taylor? And I'm just going to pitch this idea to you. Just because I like the Reckoners as a province.
Mm-hmm.
Just reckon a god of destruction that walks the earth.
Well, I'm obviously not gonna not do that. Okay.
Maybe we should start defining these. what was the Eyes of God?
Yeah, the Eyes of God.
Maybe that's what we should make the nanomachine god.
Like that.
Oh, we already have Quick Reef, never mind. What would the Fae be in this realm? Like, what is our approximation of the Fae? Well, I guess if anyone were to worship the Fae, or be of the Fae, in this world, I think it would be the... What do you call them? The Ararache? Ararache? Frere Roja?
Okay. What? They're the big metal beetle guys, right?
Yeah, there are elves. Hey, this is a public notice to everyone. Elves suck.
Elves are garbage.
Fucking useless. Who needs them?
The funniest interpretation of elves that I've ever seen was on like a Reddit comment or something, and somebody was talking about how Legolas is like a wood elf and he's not a high elf, so he's basically a hillbilly elf.
Fair.
And they wrote like a whole series of shit about like, what do your elfin eyes see? Is like, dang old man, see some dang old orcs going down there.
You know what? I'm gonna talk about this for a second. Elves do suck. And you want to know the justification I have for that? Think of every fantasy setting with elves, and tell me how many subclasses of elves they have. Because they're fucking boring and you gotta throw flavor on them. Otherwise, it's just fucking vanilla, except vanilla kicks ass.
Yeah, vanilla gets a bad rap.
It's plain, idiots.
Huh.
Are you thinking about how you have to put flavor on elves or else they suck?
I am, actually, yeah.
Because you gotta. Even fucking Tolkien did it.
Well, yeah, Tolkien's basically the guy who, like, made that a fantasy standard, but, like, I don't know, even in, like, Skyrim, like, you have, like, different kinds of elves.
You got, like, a dozen ones in there.
Yeah, but, like, you only have, like, one Redguard,
Yeah.
one Nord, like, one Briton. Shit, that's really weird.
Yeah, because it's like a fucking baked potato. You gotta put flavor on it or else it blows.
Don't say that about baked potatoes. I like, because I would go out of my way to have a baked potato.
But you want a baked potato because you want sour cream and bacon on it. You don't want a baked potato for its unpleasant form. I look like a turd. Baked potato kind of looks like a turd. I said it.
What?
Don't at me.
You need to go see a doctor, because that is not how your poop should look.
Don't at me.
If your poop looks like a baked potato, you need to go see it. Like, leave this stream now and go see a fucking doctor. Go to the emergency room.
I'm gonna start seeing doctors now, Taylor.
You need to. It sounds like you needed to a long time ago. Cannot stress enough how your poop should not look like a baked potato. Anyway, sorry. I'm gonna try and move on from, like, the mindfuck I just experienced with elves. Let's see. Okay, yeah, tell you what. Let's go ahead. We have 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, let's
4,
start
5.
defining these.
Let's define these a little bit. We'll skip through Tunneler Mainframe because we did that already. Corey, tell me about Machine Towers.
Hell yeah! Okay, Machine Towers are one of the first. So actually, Machine Towers go back to like one of our previous incarnations of trying to like do world building or something. When we were talking about was it Young Wizard Planet?
Oh, Wild Wizards?
Yeah,
Oh,
Wild Wizards. Hell yeah, Wild Wizards, baby!
Wild Wizards, yeah!
Which was a world me and Taylor had an idea for, where you know how snakes are more dangerous as babies. What if wizards were that?
Yeah, it was a world in which wizards are born immediately having immense power and having absolutely no control over it. So basically, from the age of like 0 to 10, children are just kind of left mostly on their own, except for like rich kids who get sent to like
The
like
worst boarding school ever.
yeah, exactly. It's like a death camp, except the teachers are the ones who get killed.
How was class today? Intense. It was intense.
It was intense. Billy cast a fireball when he was trying to take a shit, and like 3 people died.
It's a weird class.
Yeah.
But the idea I had was like these ancient machine towers dotting the landscape that like housed in them all sorts of knowledge and antiquated technology, but they also housed in them like fleets of automatons that would just come to life and march across the land. And so I had an idea for a human who had like coalesced a bunch of technology and power over time and brought these all under control like a mad sorcerer, and like from some unknown tower, or maybe he shifts around, this ancient grizzled man like directs the traffic of these old machine towers that vault peddlers definitely try to get into because they fucking definitely have ancient goods in them.
I was gonna say it sounds like this place is basically our bread and butter. Hello?
Nothing. Nothing. Someone sent me something funny.
Oh, gotcha.
Sorry.
So this malevolent god controls workings of said towers, and
Like, I don't even know if he's human anymore. He's so inundated with technology that, like, he's probably a cyborg of some kind.
okay, so let me ask you this. With like the tunneler mainframe, we have kind of a central purpose, kind of a central design. Like there's a central goal, I guess, which is keep all of these different, AI centers like running and controlling these leagues of tunnelers. What is the overall goal? Like if this guy is a god, then what is he a god of?
Greed.
Greed. Like that. So god of greed. Ironically, then hailed by vault peddlers as the deliverer of their jobs, criminals alike. Okay.
Tell me of him.
Well, Mr. Crab started his life out as an ordinary crab in a little fry cook joint under the sea.
I'm sending you into space. I'm launching you into space.
Nah, man, I think that, like, in all seriousness, I like the idea that there is like a singular like mother crab that's like in the deepest part of the ocean. I like the idea that the aquatic life has been so disrupted by quick reef that like the levels of adaptation they've had to come up with to deal with that, like all of a sudden popping up in their homes, has basically led to like this whole like marine marine ecosystem of like metal equipped animals like attached to like it's like biometal, that they use to like basically shield themselves from like this quick reef. And so I had this idea of all of these different crabs who are not only like they not only do they have like this biometal on them, they're like coated in it and armored in it, but they've actually started developing like some level of sentience. And I think kind of in the same way that like mermaids come up and like call to, sailors and like drag them to their tomb.
Yeah.
I think these crabs kind of do something similar. And so they're like they're a sign of bad luck for like sailors and people like out on the water. Because usually the sight of like one of these smaller crabs predicts the arrival of like the mother crab.
Can I pitch something to you?
Yeah.
She who waits in trenches.
Ooh, like that. She who waits in trenches.
I mean, this makes sense as like like she's a god of the deep, right? She is a god of the hunt. But like it would make sense that there would be a significant amount of worship of her in Polytar communities, like because she's taken what was refuse and turned it into workable ability. Like that is what the Polytar are, right? So the idea that they would see her as a creator god would make sense, which is cool because that means that the Polytar's creator god is a evil god of the hunt.
Love that shit. One sec. Has made a home and community from the garbage that is Quickreef. Often worshipped by the Polytar, seen as a sign of bad luck. Sailors, as her minions, are often responsible for dragging vessels to the ocean floor.
And this is the god at war with the Quickreef, meaning that there's nothing good in the ocean and it's all garbage.
Yeah, though, I mean, I actually think that was something we talked about, was like, most of the time, unless like a job is offering a ton of money, people tend to stay on land.
I mean, this makes sense because it gives us, first off, a path like towards supplements, like doing water-based supplements, doing other continent supplements, and gives us a reason why we're not talking about those in this main book because, the ocean's basically impassable.
Yeah,
so
the ocean is a death trap.
Fucking dope fucking album name, dude.
Honestly, that's just how I feel about the actual ocean. Like,
listen,
the ocean terrifies the shit out of me.
I'm leftist. I'm all about ecology. I want the progress of humanity to go forward. I do think the ocean is garbage, and we should destroy it.
I do think the ocean is likely haunted and houses a giant crab that plots our demise. That being said, clean those oceans.
To keep the god, the crab. Okay, give me a name for the. I gave your god a name. Give the tunneler mainframe a name. Actually, no. We'll name the tunneler mainframe together. Name me the cyborg that controls the machine towers.
Okay. So I'm getting a lot of like really high fantasy evil wizard vibes from Machine Tower. So like I'm wanting to go with something like Zeriax or something like that, which is I think it's maybe a little too much. It's a little over the top.
Okay.
For like the kind of game that we have. But I like the idea that it's a in-fiction name, which like to represent like his slow devolution into like basically cyber psychosis.
Yeah.
Like
nice.
it's like a normal sounding name that like tails off into a bunch of like robot jargon.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I think that it's something to the effect of like Jacques X16 or like
Whoa.
oh man, like Rio D22.
Rio D22 sounds like an actual cyberpunk character that you just created.
I like. Come on.
Rio D-Doo. Rio D-Doo.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing. We're not doing Andy Bernard as the fucking evil machine wizard.
Well, let me pitch something to you. Maybe we do.
Maybe it's just a fucking nerd who's in like an a cappella group.
I am the Nard Dog. This is your office. Now, we cannot become the Office podcast.
No, I absolutely refuse. I actually don't hate the idea that he is just a giant nerd.
I mean, for sure, he like started collecting technology because he was interested in it. He probably broke into these towers because he was
probably a nerd.
Well, I mean, like, this is the fucking conversation about Clark Kent. Like, I think I saw it on My Brother and Me, but they're like, someone said it a question, or there was a Yahoo question. It's like, why does Clark Kent pretend to be a nerd when he could be anything? It's like, no, dog. Clark Kent is a fucking nerd.
Clark Kent is a nerd.
Yeah, he's horny for grammar.
No, that's what Clark Kent would be doing if he didn't have superpowers. He just likes that shit.
Yeah, exactly. He wouldn't be surfing otherwise.
The question is, why does he pretend to be a superhero when he really just wants to write articles about news
and do 3D puzzles?
Right.
That was an improper use of a conjunction. I don't know what grammar is.
Okay, if that's the case, so let's actually circle back to this because, or not. I want to circle back to something that I just said, because I initially said that like Zeriax would be like too over the top.
Now you're like
ridiculous, but if we're running on the idea that this dude is a giant nerd, and he wanted to make himself sound cool, don't you think that maybe he would have come up with the name Zeriax as being like his new stage name? Like,
hell
that actually makes a lot of sense.
No, I'm fucking down. Write Zeriax down. And
Zeriax.
how do you spell Zeriax?
It is Zariax.
Sure. Nah, no E.
No E?
Yeah, that's way more fantasy.
Zeriax. Apostrophe in it just to make it a little more fantasy. Master of the Machine Towers. God. I want that reveal so fucking bad as a GM. Like, you build up this dude as like this evil, like, plotting supervillain. Just like, my name's Zeriax.
Ah, fuck. How strong is he? So fucking strong, you guys have no idea.
Oh my god, he's so strong, guys.
Check out what I named the tunnelers.
I love Domain. Domain is beautiful.
Don't know what it means.
Yeah. Let's give She Who Waits in the Trenches an actual name. What do sailors call this thing? Ursula.
I just kind of like it, like, hanging in the air as She Who Waits in She Who Waits in Trenches.
I mean, even like He Who Must Not Be Named had an actual name.
And it made him weak!
That's the reason. That was the reason he fucked up.
Hell yeah, it was! Everyone was like, oh yeah, don't say his name, we're afraid to say his name. And Harry was like, fuck it, I'll say his name. Like, he's a little bitch. And like, and that's what killed him.
You know, my favorite scene in Harry Potter was the part where Harry scuffs Voldemort's Jordans. The best. That was my favorite part in Goblet of Fire.
You said Goblet of Fire? Because that's a way more kick-ass movie. Harry Potter and the Goblin on Fire.
What?
You heard me. I said Goblin on Fire.
Did you say Goblin on Fire?
Yeah, it's my dark reimagining where Harry Potter just burns Dobby to death.
I think that's not your reimagining. I'm pretty sure that's lots of people's reimagining.
So here's the idea. Like, I like the idea of, like, maybe it is a name, but it is incomprehensible in human speech. It is like some polytard deep tongue, you know?
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you what. In that case, we'll leave that now, because I actually need to go here in like 20 minutes.
Okay.
So let's keep going down this list a little bit. Tell me about the nanomachine gods.
Okay. Nanomachine eyes. Okay, the eyes of God. So we had like this contingent of soldiers that were in there, right? In the control tower, and we had rested some controller, or was this close by?
No. So in terms of those soldiers, they were in an entirely different base than the Eyes of God thing. But those things could be connected.
Yeah, like I like the idea of like. Like they had over time moved it. Well, no, because the Eyes of God were originally used as a propaganda machine. Whoa, okay. What if it is a propaganda machine run amok? Like, because this is what Ishtas was using it for, right?
Well, so it's what Ishtas was using it for, and they found it with a perfectly, like, it took them time to figure out how to actually work it.
Yeah.
But the infrastructure for the thing itself was preserved. It was, like, the nanobots were already there. They just didn't know how to make them do anything.
Well, yeah, so like, over time, I think they fed it, like...
I like the holy eye.
They fed it propaganda so much that, like, these nanomachines, like, imprinted on the idea of Ishtas and the idea of protecting this place. It is, like, a god of the city. It is the holy eye. She who begets the eyes of Ishtas. Like, it is a machine come to life, and the propaganda they fed into it has become its, like, feedback loop. So
Did you read what I read?
Yeah, dog! Fucking exactly!
Alright, tight. Yeah, no, I think that makes perfect sense. I don't actually think we need to go into a ton more on that. Like, I think that's... Well, actually, wait. There are two things there are two things I think we do need. What is the goal of this thing? And like, what is it the god of? And who worships it?
Okay,
actually,
we know who worships
Ishtas
it.
worship it.
Yeah. So like the goal of it is to perpetuate this propaganda, right? So like how do we mechanize that into like a domain? Unless its domain is worship.
What if it's just the god of Ishtas?
Yeah.
What if it is a centralized thing and its domain is literally the city?
I like that.
Okay, yeah.
I also chose the terror and the screams because there were like those screaming storms coming through.
Love that. All right. The next two, I think, were yours. What did you have in mind with the Nocturne deal?
Okay, so like, and maybe we shouldn't touch on this because I like the idea of the Nocturne being mysterious for later supplements. But
then for time's sake, let's move past it.
Yeah, Seraphero I do have an idea for.
Yeah, give me the lowdown on the Seraphero.
This is a god of war, of conquest. So the Sero are these violent little tribes that form and devolve very quickly. I think that they like form armies very fast, or form collectives very fast, but just as fast destroy themselves or get destroyed and like tear each other apart. And I think they have short lifespans anyways, and they're like made of metals, and like they're these like violent little magic men. I think that they have this god that continually gets reborn. It is a prophet of war that like just gets risen up by the Sero. Who knows if it even is a god, or if it's a title that is just so self-imbibed by the culture that like one gets lifted up and then collects a bunch of Sero communities together, just by the nature of being who it is, and leads them like a scourge across the land until it fizzles out and he dies, and then 7 years later, and it's basically Locust, but for war. It's the most metal thing I could think of.
Oh yeah. Okay. So 7 years later, after one's death, new one is reborn. They might not actually be a god, because what I was thinking of is like the Dalai Lama,
yeah,
basically of war.
the screaming prophet, the locust of war.
the Dalai Lama of extreme violence.
I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking. So like,
yeah. Okay, cool. And then we have the fucking legend,
the man, the myth.
The Ballad of Doonerbrine.
Doonerbrining an idea, right?
Yeah, Doonerbrining is all of us.
Yeah. But no, also...
so actually... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, there's... I think maybe this one is more of a myth than a god, but, like, I think it is a vault peddler born myth. Like, every once in a while, or like you'll hear from old peddlers, like, no, I know Doonerbrining. He used to be a member of this vault, this peddler group I was in. I swear to God. He was like, and then like the story is self-referential. It's meta. It's like, it keeps building in upon itself, where it's like,
yeah,
we're surrounded by so much of like magic and technology that like maybe this idea really does come to life. Maybe this is our traditional god. It is Doonerbrining, brought to life by the power of belief.
Love it. So over time and exposure to other gods, the legend of Doonerbrining has risen from folktale to common, or no, to near religious followership.
And like, it's a folktale that everyone always, like, old vault peddlers always say that like they've worked with him.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea that they're all right.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, they're not fucking bullshitting.
Yeah, like they actually met Doonerbrining somehow.
Wink. He's just always like,
okay,
they'll never believe you.
Fucking Bill Murray and fries. Worshipped by the Awoken.
He is quite literally like he's a goddess of a god of malfunctioning light. Like he's dying and bringing up, like, hunting down these patches of Awoken and bringing them to light.
Hunting down patches of Awoken. You just mean like he's like finding Awoken that haven't actually awoken yet,
yeah,
and then waking them up.
Yeah, because he has the technology, and like, maybe it's killing him, the dying god.
Yeah.
Augustus, the dying god.
So the dying god. What do you think about the dying god of resurrection?
Yeah, for sure. Hell yeah.
For humans who still wait to be woken to their 100-year slumber. In return for his assistance, Augustus asks only
For blood.
Hey, wake up. I need that blood.
I need your blood. Listen, this is a real simple exchange.
No, I like the idea that Augustus. I almost see Augustus as like a warlock or like a warlock patron.
Yeah.
Like he gives you something but demands something in return. But I can't decide what that is.
Well, maybe it's different for everyone, and then we can like include a feat or a background for the Awoken, where like pick your deal with Augustus.
All right, cool. Favors of varying nature, then. All right, the Vigilant. Tell me about the big plasma baby, Corey.
I mean, it's like, it is man. We keep getting on this idea of like death and rebirth.
Yeah, well, it's a Pantheon. That's
what they do.
Gonna happen. Yeah, that, to be fair, any Pantheon, you go to any Pantheon, that shit's there.
So, like, maybe it's like, I like the idea of it, like, them mining so much that it returns to this, into, like, a polyp state, basically.
What do you mean?
Oh, so, like, a polyp state, like, certain creatures, like, creatures that, I think it's, like, what goes into polyp states? It's a cycle of life thing. Certain creatures that go into like biological immortality return to like immature states, like a polyp state. So they return to their immature phase and then mature again, and then go back to immaturity and then mature. Like this. I mean, essentially, it's the Phoenix, right? That's same idea, except it's biological. A biological mandate for it. Although I'm not sure what the actual branch of evolution that comes from. I'm actually feel it in response to physical damage. You're saying take a leap back into. Okay, so like jellyfish can do it too. So in response to physical damage or even starvation, they take a leap back in their development process, transforming back into a polyp. So it's their immature state in a process that looks remarkably like immortality. The born-again polyp colony emerges, buds, and releases medusae that are genetically identical to the injured adult. So like, by mining this plasma, it is like a god that is growing, that through mining they reset. So I don't know what that is a god of.
Okay, so a god of mining that is reborn into a polyp state,
like a jellyfish.
And like, what's the frequency on this? Like, it's reborn like every time they open a new mine, or like?
I think it's once they reach a certain point of depletion of the plasma, and then once they do that, it returns to this polyp state and like surges with this energy when it does it and refills the plasma pool. So maybe it's a god of energy.
Okay. So refills Plasma pool.
And it's like a jellyfish with a screaming baby's head. Is that so wrong? Is that wrong? If that's wrong, I don't want to be right.
Vigilant as a
Jellyfish?
god of energy.
It looks like a jellyfish.
It appears
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
jellyfish
Yeah.
with a baby head.
Screaming.
Screaming. So I had some thoughts for the metal serpent. I don't know if you
I'm on
wanted
board.
to do this one.
No. You do it because you just wrote down the coolest words. My favorite sentence.
Okay. Ancient and bestial, Orod is one of the few megafauna that shares the deep sea with She Who Waits in the Trenches. Surviving off the blood of her children, the metal serpent acts as the god of consumption. The occupants of Orod pay blood sacrifice.
And that's why they hunt!
Yeah, that's why they hunt them. Because the other option is that they sacrifice themselves.
Well, and they sacrifice themselves because by not culling them, the population grows, right? And so if the population grows, it takes over the canals and spills over into the city, and just like a tide of metal serpents culls the human population. So it is a very real thing that they have to do by culling the population.
Okay, cool. We've already done Eba. We're really running tight on time here. Tell me about the court of the cult of the Imaginarians.
I have nothing for that.
I don't either, so we're gonna leave that. How about the builder?
Yeah, the builder I have an idea for.
Okay.
The builder we talked about when we played the Quiet Year with Adam. We found this small room that was just putting automatons together.
Yeah.
The builder is that. It is these quiet rooms built into the hull, like probably off of the glittering courts initially, but like crushed into the sides of mountains. These quiet rooms that produce automatons. What goes on with the automatons? I don't know. Maybe Zeriak's. Fuck, I got his name right. Goddamn.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And no problem, kid. Maybe Zeriak's. Maybe this is the god of trade. The builder is the god of trade. The automatons get dealt to other gods, but it needs to build. What it needs resources, so it trades for resources. And what it needs to do is it needs to build.
Or resources used for further building.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like these like self-replicating ideas we have in a lot of these.
Yeah, very much. Worship the builder as a god of both technology and commerce, both of which are very common values in Ishtas. Oh! And then, do we need to go further into the, what are you doing?
Hell yeah.
Bone Lord.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, love it.
He's a god of bandits, right? Like he is a god. He is like, I think it's a warlord gone wrong, right? Or gone right, I guess. So inundated with his own glittering wealth from success and destruction and raiding that like there is a capital for, and now we got to build that on the map. There is a capital for reckoners. There's a capital of raiders. It is the Bone Lord. The Bone Lord. The Bone Lord.
By the way, the Bone Lord is voiced by Jack Black.
Yeah, he is. Jack Black, can you voice a character for our tabletop role-playing game?
Tabletop game?
Wait.
It'll be really quick. We'll only need to have you record like 1,000 fucking lines. Also, we don't have the money to pay you.
And I don't know how we're going to use it. It's a book.
But we do love your work. And
we're just gonna.
if you're down,
we're gonna put those those you know the technology they use for gift card or not gift cards but greeting cards that you open them and it starts a song. You open certain pages in our book and Jack Black sings about the Bone Lord to you.
Be down with that. That sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean it does sound cool. It sounds expensive.
All right. So we have kind of hit the end of tonight's session. Corey, are we actually going to do homework next time, or should we just kind of keep rolling on this riff for a little bit? I feel like there's probably more we still need to kind of flesh out.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think that, like, talking about lore is a good thing right now because it's going to get us, like, settled into doing more feats, which we need to do many. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, what do you want to talk about next week for...
I actually am kind of into the idea of sort of delving into the Pantheon a little bit more. And, like, maybe one thing we could do is we could pull up the world map that we have on Wonderdraft and, like, kind of place these different things geographically. And that might help us get, like, kind of a regional idea of, you know, what shapes these different cultures, what values they have, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely talk about relationships between the gods. We can talk about, like, what kind of things they value, what worship of them looks like, what their cults look like, what their churches look like, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, like, more Pantheon talk, I'm down.
All right, sounds cool. Well, then, yeah, we will see you all next week. Same cool time, same cool place. Thanks so much for coming by, and we will see you later.
Do the little lad dance for the people.
No. See you later.
Bye.